Hey, you know that cute isekai anime? Where an abused child is sold to a demon by his psychopathic parents? Where he's then taken to hell and forced to go to a school filled with demons that salivate at the thought of eating humans? You know what that wholesome show needs more of? Gang violence! Welcome, friends. I'm Merlyn with a Y, a certain famous wizard's less talented but more attractive cousin. And I'm here today to talk about the Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun Mafia AU that exists for some reason. I have no idea why they made this, but I am so happy that they did. This is Iruma-kun, If, episode of Mafia. I've always been a huge fan of Mafia movies and shows, be it The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos. The idea of the Mafia was always just really cool for me. Even if I don't actually condone the crimes real-life mobsters were involved in, there was just a certain style and energy that always drew me in. Hell, one of my first and favorite animes was Home Tutor Hitman Reborn, a series I've completely rewatched 4 times, and will always be one of my all-time favorites, despite some of its more annoying aspects. But anyway, when I heard that Iruma, of all shows, was getting an official Mafia AU manga, it seemed like such a weird idea that I just had to check it out. And all I have to say is, whoever's idea this was, thank you! So for those who are unfamiliar with the series, I'll give a brief rundown of the original Demon School Iruma-kun. The series follows the title character Iruma, who, having been born to 2 completely neglectful psychopaths, was forced at the ripe old age of 1 year old to survive on his own. These monsters make Timmy Turner's parents look like tiger moms. Hell, they make Hayato's parents from Combat Butler Hayato look relatively normal, which is saying something. But after 14 years of living like this, these sick bastards sold him to a demon. A powerful demon that's a better parent than they could ever hope to be. Adopting Iruma as his grandchild, the demon enrolled him in the Demon School Babel, where Iruma would make friends, get stronger, and move up the ranks to one day become the Demon King, all the while hiding his true nature from literal human-eating monsters around him. A story of a selfless boy who through his experiences becomes the greediest demon of them all. Now let's get to the Iruma Mafia AU. In this version, there are no demons, magic, or any of the supernatural stuff. Instead, the world is more grounded, being loosely based on the 1940s, with less modern technology and magic, but a hell of a lot more style. In this version, the Demon School Babel is now the Babel Mafia, a widely known criminal organization that is somehow able to openly advertise their non-illegal businesses despite pretty much everyone knowing their reputation. Don't think about it. Unlike its demonic counterpart, here Iruma grew up an orphan in the slums. That is, until at the age of 5, young Iruma comes across the dying body of Don Sullivan, of the Babel Mafia. Not that he knew it at the time. Nursing him back to health, the ruthless mafioso was touched by his kindness and decided to adopt him, against his will. You know what? That may be kidnapping. Either way, some stuff happens, and 9 years later, Iruma has become the Babel Mafia's new underboss. Wow! Having an innocent cinnamon roll become the second in command of a ruthless crime syndicate. What can go wrong? While the differences in the worlds make it so that the AU is more grounded, it still has some fantastical elements. Mainly, the power of endless money, which in my mind is stronger than any magic. I should know. I'd gladly give up my magic for the amount of money they casually waste in the first few chapters. And while Iruma does get better with his lack of financial sense, it does give off the feeling that they'll be okay no matter what happens, because they're just that rich and powerful. The story isn't a realistic mafia story, which is obvious. It's clearly an anime-style mafia family. Less of the casual yet effective assassinations of characters like in The Godfather, and more anime battles. They still go heavily into the idea that humans are by their very nature greedy, similar to how they treat demons in the original. But rather than going down the I must become a predator to avoid becoming the prey approach, they decide to flip it with Iruma's kind nature making him empathetic to the people who came from the same situation as him. Iruma instead wants to create a world where everyone can fulfill their desires and satisfy their greed. But to do that, Iruma must become greedier. Much like in the original, behind that cute face lies a well of bottomless desire and greed. If anything, he might be greedier here. It's a little terrifying, but I'm into it. He essentially wants to have his organization take control of and fix the slums to better the people's lives. I think there's a word for that. Oh well. I'm sure this is far more complicated in real life, but it's a manga, so I'm curious to see how they'll do it. Will they have Iruma be faced with the fact that it's a more complex issue than he originally thought? Or will it be more feel-good stories where people in power are able to use the power of greed and money to solve poor people's problems? I don't know, but I'll be sure to keep reading to find out. That's not to say it's just happy-go-lucky stories that whitewash the Mafia's many crimes. There are darker moments in the series that show that this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I don't want to spoil anything, but it works for what they're going for. The more grounded tone really works and sets it apart from its counterpart, hinting at the darker aspects of the Mafia, but not outright showing it. To Iruma, at least. Despite being the boss, he's only just stepped his toes into it, and is still woefully unprepared, and in some characters' minds, unsuited for this life. He's a good person, and that's not good for business. The theme of greed and desire is even more prevalent here than it is in the original, mostly due to the nature of the Mafia and that we're dealing with humans instead of demons. When it comes to being generally awful, humans are number one. But it's not just Iruma's desires and ambitions that are shown throughout the 10 chapters currently out. Practically every named character has their own desires and ambitions. From those born out of greed, those born out of a sense of justice, or those born out of love. Each character has their own desires and ambitions, except for Opera. But he or she is my favorite delinquent cat thing, and so gets a pass. The narrative through line of Iruma learning what it means to be the boss of the Mafia, as well as reconciling his past as someone born in the slums, is also done far better than the original did it. While in the original, there are moments where they will do something interesting with Iruma's nature as a human, they don't really do anything with it like how they do in this series. Keep in mind that they are both completely different circumstances, but I feel like it shows how differently each version handles its writing. I'm not knocking the original, I just prefer how the spin-off handles it. Now I could tell you about all the changes to the characters that I like, and how it made aspects of the original characters that I wasn't a fan of become some of my favorite parts of the characters. But there's something else about the characters that isn't as important, but goddamn if it isn't my favorite part of this series. Why are they so hot? Now I know that this doesn't have anything to do with the story, but I just have to talk about this because I am a sucker for a good character design, and they knocked it out of the park with this one. Something that always stands out about these types of spin-off mangas are seeing our favorite characters in different outfits than you'd ever see in the main series. Instead of the same outfit every chapter, you get to see them wear something else for a change, which they'll wear for every chapter of the spin-off manga instead. And since this spin-off is based around old school Mafia, the chosen style for the series is something that will never not be in style: suits. Now I may be a bit biased, but in my humble opinion, suits are the peak of fashion, and anyone who disagrees with me is a moron. Everyone looks good in a properly tailored and coordinated suit, and I will stand by that for the rest of my life. But enough about me gushing about suits. Instead, I'm gonna gush about fictional characters wearing suits, because that's healthier. Starting with the man so sexy he makes me want to start smoking, Kalego. He just oozes that I'm tired and overworked, but goddamn do I look fine energy. You know what I'm talking about? Characters like Aizawa or Nanami. that at first look like they don't give a shit and just want to go home, but the moment shit gets real, they turn into the baddest motherfucker there. They just put their hair up or loosen their tie, and the fandom collectively loses their minds and their panties. Kalego fits this to a T. He wears the same base suit that everyone else wears, but the black gloves, the glasses, the constant smoking, and his resting bitch face just ooze sex appeal. He has that mature energy that just makes you want to sit down and shut up and listen, cause even if no one else in the series will, you will do anything to get on his good side. He could break my back or break my back. Either way, I'm saying thank you afterwards. He's that one teacher that you kind of want to piss off in the hopes that he'll keep you after class and give you the punishment you deserve. Huh? What was I talking about? I was just picturing something. Whatever, moving on. Next up is my favorite delinquent cat thing. Okura has a very different kind of look, even if on paper they shouldn't be that different than Kalego. Compared to Kalego's neat and proper appearance, Okura looks like they just rolled out of bed and threw on his suit. And you know what? It works. They have that formal and casual look that perfectly captures the difference between this Okura and the original. The slightly unkempt appearance gives him a sense of immaturity and danger that just oozes "I don't give a fuck" energy. There are some small details like the choker that definitely gives off the angry pet cat type of feeling, but it works for their character. And for those who are wondering, in one of the extra chapters they made it so Okura's gender was supposed to be a mystery, but the translation suggests that they're a man. Either way, god damn! Next up is the character who I'm pretty sure is the illustrator's favorite, Clara. I'll admit, Clara's always been one of those characters that you have a hard time figuring out if you enjoyed them or not. Thankfully, with a new universe comes new interpretations, and for this one, we have quite possibly one of the greatest things I have ever seen in my life. Jester Clara. Clara as a circus jester fits perfectly for her. It captures her fun-loving and entertaining nature, and shows her desperate need to be needed. Jester Clara steals every scene she's in, and that's not just because I think there should be more clown girls in anime. We already got Pomni and Luce. I don't know what it is about clowns where when you see a male clown you want to kill it with fire, but when you see a female clown you want them to play a trick on you, or more. But everything from her sharp toothy smile to her face makeup to her outfit that just the right amount of just too much, it all works perfectly. That's not to say that's all she has going for her, because guess what? She also wears a suit! Hell yes! She looks adorable in it. How many people could pull off green high-top shoes with a suit? I don't know, but probably not me. Even without the jester outfit, you just know from how she holds herself and how she smiles that even when she's dressed to the nines, she's still a mischievous little minx. Now that we're done with Clara, we need to talk about one of the only men who can pull off pink hair, Asmodeus. And before I even get started on his outfit, I have to say that he rocks his new hairstyle. He went from the basic anime pretty boy haircut to a cut that just screams elegance with a mix of wildness and a healthy dose of sexy. That's the kind of haircut I'd show to my barber before he kicks me out for trying to get an anime haircut again. Which is fair, because in all honesty, I would not be able to style and braid it like that every day. I'm way too lazy. But back to the outfit. Much like the rest of the cast, he wears an immaculate fitted black suit. There aren't any details about how he wears the suit or any accessories that make the outfit unique. All this is an amazing suit worn by someone who knows how to rock it. I finally understand why all those mob characters were worshipping this guy. Just look at him! Who knew a version of him that doesn't worship the ground Iruma walks on is actually hot? But now, we can't keep avoiding it forever. The one character that never wears a suit and is somehow the hottest one, Amari. But not just normal Amari, Tomboy Amari. Now I know what you're gonna say. We already saw Tomboy Amari during the Akudal arc. And yeah, she looks okay there, but it's nothing compared to this. Every part of this outfit works in a way that I'm not even sure I could describe, but I am going to try. I'm not as familiar with women's clothes, but even I can tell that every inch of this outfit is a complete 10 out of 10. The black-heeled boots that make her even more towering over Iruma. The leather pants so tight that there's no way it could have any pockets. The what I'm gonna call a tube top, but I'm not completely sure, and I'm probably wrong, with the cropped leather jacket over it that shows off the toned stomach. Oh my god! Need I say more? No? Well, too bad I'm not done. Her free-flowing hair was tied up in a ponytail with a part of her bangs covering one of her eyes in a way that would probably look weird in real life, but looks captivating on the page. She still has the horn ear hair thing that Opera has, but goddamn if it isn't adorable. For accessories, a set of belts, one around her waist like normal and another around her thigh. Why the hell am I jealous of an article of clothing? And to finish it all off is a dog tag with her rank, which is a nice callback to the original and this version of the rank system. Altogether, she looks like the type of woman that any weeb would dream of, but never have the guts to approach in reality. And don't even get me started on when she takes off the jacket and exposes her shoulders. God damn! I finally understand why schools wouldn't let women show their shoulders. For God's sake, I finally understand! I'm just crossing my fingers and praying for the day that they put her in a suit. Finishing stuff off, we have the main character with the most unique suits among them all. We have the underboss himself, Iruma, dressed in a bold all-white suit with a matching hat. Be careful not to wear that after Labor Day. Clearly, it's meant to symbolize Iruma's purity as he's the only one who doesn't match his hair color. Everyone else, in the cover illustrations, wears a colored shirt that matches their hair to go with their suit. Everyone except Iruma. Maybe that'll change as he develops, but either way, the suit is amazing. Wearing the suit over his shoulders and proudly showing off his suspenders, this is a look I wish I could pull off, but I don't have that adorable face. The hat is an interesting choice, but I love how it's made to give off his little horns. It works so well. Not only that, but he wears it in multiple ways that all work well. Sometimes with the hat, sometimes not, sometimes with the jacket, sometimes not. Sometimes he'll roll up his sleeves with the gloves still on, giving off the feeling that he's got shit to do. And don't even get me started on those shoes. There's something about seeing him go from an almost semi-intimidating mob boss to a tiny bundle of sunshine just by taking off a coat and a hat. That's just fascinating. That, and I have always loved the suspenders look with the suit pants and the dress shirt. Altogether, he's an adorable little cinnamon roll that's dressed better than I'll ever be, and it probably costs more than my house. At least the laundry bill must be. But these are just my thoughts. I hope you'll check this series out and tell me what you think. As I was editing this video, Manga Barista released his own video about the series, and he has a lot of the same thoughts and ideas as me. You should check out his video if you want to hear more about this incredible series. It's nice to see such an amazing manga finally getting the attention it deserves. It's definitely interesting to see the differences in how a change of setting and worlds can affect these characters that we all know and love. There are currently 10 chapters out at the time of writing this, and I hope you can get as much enjoyment out of it as I did. This AU has my favorite versions of characters that I already liked, but they elevated them to a whole new level. I know half of this video was just me gushing about and thirsting about the characters, but that's just because I don't want to spoil anything significant and have you check it out with fresh eyes. And if you liked hearing me make an ass of myself by drooling over fictional characters, then please let me know. I'm still new to this, and I'm still trying to figure out my style. But before we go, Hiroja, my man, you did good. Have a cookie. I'm Merlyn with a Y, and I wish you the best. Thank you.